The Mitch Marner situation just got way more intense, with reports saying that a trade is still a possibility and it's headed in that direction. Plus, Craig Berube thinks he can mold the core four, and we're going to break all that stuff down for you coming up on this episode of Hattrick HQ. But before we get into it, we got to say we're on the road for 5,000 subscribers here by the end of the summer. So please, if you're not subscribed already, you're liking this Leafs and NHL content, make sure you're down below and hit that subscribe button. But with that said, let's jump right into the first topic of the video today, which is Berube can mold the core four. And yes, that has been the big question surrounding Craig Berube, I guess including the Mitch Marner stuff, is can Berube work with this core four and mold it into a team that can win a championship? And Berube didn't just sign with the Leafs, just to sign with the Leafs. He wanted a challenge, and a challenge is molding this core four. So the real question is, do I think he could do it? I definitely think he does, and we've seen a report come out from the hockey writers today talking about this, where they actually went on to say here that Berube's ambition and confidence drives him. He sees potential in players like Marner and knows that integrating their talents effectively is crucial for the team's success. His confidence and self-belief are his greatest motivators. He's convinced he can mold the core four into a cohesive unit capable of excelling in the playoffs. He also says Berube's challenge is to create a synergy that maximizes the core four's strengths while mitigating the weaknesses. He says you have to know how he feels. He can inspire and motivate this group, creating a culture of relentless pursuit towards success. And this is a very well written report here from the hockey writers. I loved this when I seen it, and I had to share it with you guys because I think this is the perfect way to kind of sum up, if you're wondering why Craig Berube took on this job as the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, because like they say in this article, he has such high ambition and drive to be a great NHL coach. We've seen him come from the depths to win a Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues, and that's because not just did he have the confidence in the players, but he had the room. The players loved playing for this guy. They wanted to win for this guy, and that played a big factor into them ultimately winning the Stanley Cup that year. So hearing that, Craig Berube can mold this core four into a cohesive unit is big, because I think that I think he can do it. I think he's that good of a coach that he can find a way to implement a system that benefits these best four players, the Morgan Rileys, the John Tavares, the Austin Matthews, the William Nylanders, the Mitch Marners of the team, the core five, if you want to call them that. I think he has the players now that Brad has signed and traded for in free agency, that he can mold a solid group here. And I think I'd say it will take a little bit. It's not going to be right away into the beginning of the season, but I'd say quarter way through the season, we're going to see this Leafs team start dominating. They're going to be working as a unit. They're going to be scoring goals. They're going to be getting points, but they're also going to be great defensively. And I think that's what Craig Berube brings to this team, and I really think he can do this if Mitch Marner is not traded, of course. And I think it can work. I know a lot of you guys in the comment section after the Leafs got eliminated said, we need to get rid of the core four. It's not working, but I think, not a knock on Sheldon Keefe, I still think he's a tremendous coach, but I just think he couldn't find his own way to mold this group into a cohesive unit, whereas Berube has more experience, I think, and can go out and do this with a team and be the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs and lead them towards the playoff success. And I think that's what we're going to see this season. It's not going to be the same Leafs team. Yes, the same players on the ice, but the way they play is going to be completely different. And you guys are going to see that from day one. And I can't wait for the season to start so we can see that. But on the other hand, our next topic of the video is saying that Mitch Marner, a trade is still on the table. I mean, if we look here, it just says a Marner trade is still a possibility. And yes, this is something that we thought we kind of left in the rearview mirror because, it didn't happen and the extension still hasn't been signed. And then reports were looking like he was going to sign an extension and stay with the team and maybe work on a trade, maybe at trade deadline or something like this. But now we're getting more and more reports saying that this is still a possibility, and keep it in the back of your mind because this could happen. I mean, we've seen this report from the Toronto Sun today where they come out and said, according to Terry Koshan, he said that we're definitely heading into that territory, into Mitch Marner trade territory. He also went on to say here the word coming out of the NHL draft at the end of June in Las Vegas was that if a big if is Mitch Marner was going to be traded, and they say it would take some time to consummate and probably wouldn't happen for a couple of weeks. We're heading into that territory on the calendar now, but there has been nothing to lead anyone to believe that a Marner trade actually will happen. And yes, we know this, if you've been following the Leafs for a long time, that they like to keep everything hush-hush in the organization, and not a lot of stuff gets leaked very often. So if they are working on a Mitch Marner trade, we probably won't hear about it until it's just about finished. It's just about done. But like Terry Koshan says here, we're heading into that date on the calendar where this trade could come and could happen. And he also goes on to write in this article that the line from Marner's camp all along is the star winger will be in camp in September with the Leafs as he heads into the final year of his contract. As we say, there has been nothing concrete to expect anything otherwise. There's still no doubt that the Marner issue still remains delicate, and we've been talking about this, it seems like forever here on the channel, that the Mitch Marner trade, is it going to happen, is it not going to happen? But now hearing another report coming out from the Toronto Sun that it's still on the table and we're heading into that territory is big news, because myself, and I'm sure some of you guys watching at home, were like, yeah, this is not going to happen. We haven't seen it yet. It's not going to happen. We're still going to run it back with the same team next year. Do I think that's a bad decision? No, I think running it back with this team and giving it into the hands of Craig Berube, and then it doesn't work, then you start to break it up and do that stuff. I think you need to give Craig Berube his year here to make his impact on this Leafs team, and if it works, if they get past the second round, then they're in the success there. That's the farthest they've been in a very long time. So I think we have to give it this season to see what happens. That's just my opinion, but we're hearing here online that trades are still a possibility, and I don't know. It's kind of crazy to think that Mitch Marner could be traded as a Toronto Maple Leaf, and there is always that question mark surrounding that no trade clause, that no move clause. I think Mitch Marner has been adamant that he wants to stay in Toronto, and do I think he will waive that no move clause? I don't think so. I think he wants to stay in Toronto. I know he came out and said he's limited his media availability, and a lot of people are saying, oh, he's not cut out for Toronto. But, man, you got to put your guy into his shoes. What this guy went through after they got eliminated. He was the scapegoat. Everybody was hating on this kid. Even the media, the fans, nobody liked Marner. You got to put yourself into his shoes. Yes, maybe getting out of this market would, save him some mental stress, but it seems like Marner all along has wanted to be a Toronto Maple Leafs, so why now? Why would he want to get traded when they're all in the prime of their careers, they're in the winning years in Toronto? I think you gotta run it back, and I think Mitch Marner wants to run it back too, but it is always a possibility. I would be absolutely shocked if Mitch Marner waives his no trade clause, but we've seen crazier things. I don't know what team would have to offer the Leafs a trade to get him to move on. Would it be a Pittsburgh? Would it be a Carolina? Would it be a Utah? Who knows? I have no idea. Would it be a Vegas? There's got to be a team out there that Mitch Marner wants to go to, but in my opinion, I think he wants to stay in Toronto more and win with this group of guys, because we've heard how tight-knit of a group they are and stuff like this in Toronto. So it makes sense for him to want to stay, and ultimately it is his decision. Brad Treliving and the Toronto Maple Leafs can't just trade him and say, yeah, you're gone. He has to make the decision to move. And I personally think, even though we're getting a report here from Terry that this could be a trade coming up in the future, I would be very, very shocked to see it. I think it would be very interesting, because I love chaos, and I think there would be a lot of chaos surrounding this trade, because I don't think they would get the return that a lot of fans would love to see. But, we'll have to see what happens. I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below. Do you think Mitch Marner moves his no trade clause, or would you be shocked just like I am? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. We're going to get into everybody's favorite topic here on the channel, which is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to Thet, or the T. Don't know how to pronounce that one, but sorry. He says Crosby and a first for Marner and Robertson. I mean, that is a very interesting trade to put out there. A Crosby trade to Toronto. I don't know how I feel about that one, honestly. Like I said, I'd love to see it happen, because I personally love a lot of chaos. So seeing what the fans' reaction to and the media's reaction to a 37-year-old Crosby coming into the Leafs team would be really fun to see. But personally, I can't see him going anywhere. I think Mitch Marner's staying, but like I said, I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below. You might feature on next comment of the day, just like our buddy Thet or the T today. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. It helps push these videos out to all the hockey fans on YouTube. Also, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we're on the road for 5,000 subscribers by the end of the summer, so please help us get to our goal by hitting that red button at the bottom of your screen. And if you want to check out a video I did yesterday, it'll be popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I've been your host, KC. We'll catch you in the next one.